Reading I-Ching. Limitation. Change of lines. The first line is yang. The two lines of yang we meet at the bottom of the lake symbolizes two opposing powers. The one at the bottom indicates a proper stop. We often relates the power of yang with the propulsive or driving force that makes us move forward, but making and moving object to a halt can be considered another form of directional energy. We need to investigate which road we are supposed to take, which road we want to go through, and which road is accessible to us. We cannot go through every path we want to take, not every path is needed, nor is it open to us. We need to make a wise decision to move and stop according to the situation. The second line is also yang. The line of yang at the center of the lake also symbolizes a stop. However, this stop has different characteristics from that symbolized by the first line of yang. While the first line of yang indicated that we needed to make a proper stop, because it is not the right moment or situation, the second line of yang implies that we do not try to proceed, even when the timing is right. We may have been too accustomed to being in a comfortable state, that we forget to realize that we need to move on further. The third line turns back to yin. The last line of the lower trigram need to mediate between the two opposing but seemingly similar forces properly. Abstinence usually means that you need to avoid trying to achieve too much, or to move too hastily, but you also need to be alert, that you should avoid becoming too satisfied with a certain status, and staying at one place without pursuing your passion. You may make excuses to yourself, saying that you are already content with everything you have, and that you are trying not to become greedy, but if you fail to control yourself to an appropriate level, you may end up regretting your procrastination eventually. The fourth line is also yin. Now we are at the boundary between tranquility and movement. The line of yin symbolizes the power to maintain the current status. Ironically, you cannot sustain the stability for a long time, if you do nothing and stand idle. People often think of the power of yin as a fixed status which does not do anything actively, but the most important key to maintaining a stable status is to act quickly and accurately, whenever a small change in the status is observed. By doing so, you can control the deviation to a minimum, so that you do not need to put a lot of effort in fixing the problems afterwards. It is important to remind yourself that beneath the graceful movement of a swan is constant paddling underwater. The fifth line comes back to yang again. The line of yang sitting at the center of the upper trigram symbolizes the directionality of the control. We have maintained a proper level of water by keeping the balance between the power of yin and yang, so that it does not go too high or too low. However, we need to ask ourselves whether the current level of water is the most appropriate. The standard of abstinence and moderation itself may need to change gradually over time, so that we can move toward a higher ideal. Such a change does not take place suddenly overnight, but we need to go through the process of gradually getting used to a series of small changes over a long period of time. The hexagram concludes with a line of yin. Contrary to what has been mentioned in previous lines, we also need to question the process of limitation itself. If we focus too much on maintaining the stable status, so that the lake does not overflow nor does it run out of water, it may sometimes feel no better than penance or detention without development. The purpose of abstinence and moderation is not to make us fixed in a position, it is simply a mean to make us better. Therefore, we need to open up our eyes, feel the change of situation around us, and adapt to the situation flexibly whenever it is needed, instead of adhering to maintaining the current status for too long.